Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Edith and I like to read books and yap about them to you guys. I'm not gonna go through the entire background for this video. I'm just gonna tell you guys that if you guys aren't new here, you will not know this, but I am in Madison Kate's Patreon book club, and every single season we do this fun little reading challenge where we get a bingo card with a bunch of prompts in it and you have to read a book for each prompt to fill it all out before the end of the season. And obviously it doesn't end until June 20th, which means we do have over a month left. And yet I'm already feeling a little bit stressed out because I really want to finish this. I was gonna do a very specific video where I had picked out the 3 prompts and books that were the most spring, and we were gonna do an entire video around that. But then started the video off this morning and I didn't feel like it. So here we are. And now the plan is to just go through a week of mood reading, but for the spring reading challenge, while maybe possibly doing some other springy stuff. Yeah, I'm currently still trying to revive my sourdough. If we do revive that, I will want to bake a sourdough bread. If the sun comes out, I want to go on a little bit more walks. I have book club tomorrow, which we might sit outside. Actually, I just remembered that I'm pretty sure the weather report says rain all day tomorrow, so we probably won't sit outside and read. We were talking about if it was good weather, we would do that, but it's not. Anyway, our first prompt we will be filling up here has yellow, pink, blue, or green on the cover, and I decided to go with blue because I was looking at my little book cart. You know, I want to try and read all my physical books, and I was like, great. Is there anything blue, green, anything I want to read? Because the book I had originally picked for the prompt, didn't want to read that one. And then I was like, you know what? There is. Heated Rivalry. I have my trusty dusty tabs picked out for the book. I need to figure out what each color is going to be for. And then without further ado, let's get right into this book. I wanted to give you guys the quickest updates. Also, I feel like I just need to see myself with eyeliner on. I never wear eyeliner. Or that's a lie. I used to wear eyeliner a lot. It's also not eyeliner. It's black eyeshadow, but like only on the waterline. I can't figure it out because sometimes I'm like sexy and other times I'm like, no, weird looks. Yeah, so mostly I just wanted you guys to see me up and like trying to look good, a little bit of makeup on, stuff like that, because again, something I never do. Even like day to day, I just wear, actually the only thing I've added to the makeup that I normally do right now is the eyes, but I just feel like eyes can add so much, and I just feel like this is like the vibe inner me kind of wants to be, even though I know like a girly girl aesthetic looks better on me. I mean, I guess that's subjective. I just feel like sometimes I think girly girl aesthetic looks better on me, but I feel more whatever this is. Anyway, book related, and it's only the next day, but I am 20-something% through this, over 25% through it. We're done with part 1, which is fully just like episode 1 in the show. With some added stuff in, obviously some stuff has changed. The only thing I'm like missing right now is Scott Hunter, and I get it, you know, he had his entire own episode, so obviously he needed more smaller cameos. I know he has cameos in the book, but like so far not enough. No, I miss my boy Scott, which I haven't even read that book because I didn't hear amazing things about it, but maybe if I end up loving both this and The Long Game, I will read both of them, or I will read some of the other books, possibly the ones other people like love. Back to the book, the first 25%, I have, yeah. I've been giggling, screaming, kicking my feet in heaven reading this. This was such the right move. I'm in love with these characters and I'm so obsessed even like 5 months after first watching the show. Still obsessed, still watching edits and saving them all day, every day. And now this is just bringing me back to it. I feel like I'm underlining every single time they say something they said in the show, because it's just like, it's fun to see the small changes and like understanding why Jacob like changed the small stuff. Obviously, I don't think changing Ilya's brother's name was like a big decision, but like there's some of the lines where it's like a one word that was said differently that I actually think made the show that much better. I know I can't be the only one who low-key thinks the show's better. Obviously, I don't know yet. I haven't finished the book. So far, I don't have any like bad things to say about the book. I'm just saying there are some sentences that I feel like Jacob Tierney kind of rewrote like 1 or 2 words, and all of a sudden it's a much better sentence. But like I said, been having a fun, giggly time, been annotating it, in case you can't tell from the little tabs, and yeah, if I could live in this world forever, I would. I have book club in an hour. So first, before anything, I need to put on some nail polish, probably black, because I feel like that's kind of the vibe we're going with right now, so I might as well go all in. So I'm gonna do that, and if I have any more time, we will read some more, because I am so happy about this decision. It is 2 days later. I think it's Friday, which might not make any sense if I haven't said what day it is any other time, but it's currently Friday. Read over half of this yesterday while watching the show. We started at episode 3 because we had seen episode 1 and 2 last time she was here. Obviously, I've seen the show before, so a couple of times. And when I was reading not the dinner scene with Hayden, but the final scene in the actual book, we were like 1 scene behind on the show, and I was like, well, damn, that like turned out perfectly. Yeah. I'm honestly, I didn't write a review on Fable yesterday, but I did put down that I finished it yesterday, and I think I gave it a 4.5 star rating, 4.75. A part of me thinks I need to just give it 5 stars and live with it. And like live with the fact that I know it's because the show is such an important part of my life, and that if I had maybe read this before watching the show, if I had read this completely on its own and could like separate it from the show, then maybe it wouldn't be a 5 star. It would still be a very highly rated book. Like it would still be a 4 star or above. But I'm not sure it would be a 5 star. Like I think a 4.5 would be good if we looked at the book separately. I just can't handle the idea that I'm not giving it 5 stars. But I think I'm gonna stick to the 4.5 because I do think I have to at least try to like separate them a little bit. I will agree with people. Best book to TV adaptation I have ever freaking seen / read, all of that sort of stuff. And I don't know. I mean, I think Jacob Tierney actually took some moments in this book and made them better. He included some stuff that I liked way better. The like change with the Svetlana storyline, obsessed. Just something as basic, and I think I said that in the earlier clip too, something as basic as like changing one or two words in a sentence made it better, in my opinion. Like the show, it made the show better. I would say the show was better than the book. I love this book, do not get me wrong. And again, even if I were to separate it from the show, I still think I really would have loved this one. I mean, if I like just picked it up randomly and read it, you guys know I'm not a big fan of overly spicy books. I used to be, but then I kind of like, I don't want to say outgrew it, because I don't think it's like a thing you grow up and then you're like, oh, I no longer like spice. Like, there are plenty of grown people that love spice. I just feel like it feels unnecessary in a lot of books, and like specifically dark romances. I had my moment with dark romances and stuff like that, and I know this isn't a dark romance, but I've just come to realize if it has to be spicy, it has to be an romance. I mean, as you guys can tell, I think I underlined some stuff on almost every single page. There's so many tabs in here, it's so pretty. Like, look at that. And again, I am so sorry that there were not more like clips of me reading this. Maybe you guys didn't even notice and you don't even miss it or anything. But like, I only think I filmed me actually physically reading this book once. Editing me popping in really quickly because I kept talking for 6 more minutes about which book I picked next, and I didn't even go with that book. So I'm just jumping in here to finish off the fact that I was talking about heated rivalry, and then we're gonna get into our next book, which you guys will see which book that is, but it wasn't the one I was yapping about, so I have absolutely no reason to keep all of that in. But that was my quick little intermission. Let's keep going to the next book now. I was genuinely just about to say my intro, but it's not intro time. I don't remember the last thing I said to you guys. I want to read Our Perfect Storm. I want to read a romance book. I want to read my first ever Carly Fortune book. Yeah, never read a book by her, and I'm coming to you guys now, 150 pages into this, which is around the 30-something% mark. Me again. I don't even know if I'm gonna need this, but I don't think editing this I might have cut it out or something, but I don't think I said in the clip that we were reading Our Perfect Storm for the prompt published in spring, since this was published this month. So, again, popping in to let you guys know that. We're 50 pages from being halfway, so I'm hoping to sit down right now and get halfway. And I gotta tell you all, I am really, really, really loving this. I'm trying a new thing where I'm writing down notes in my notes app while reading, because I feel like oftentimes when I do sit down to talk about the books, I forget some of like the stuff I know I had thought about while I was reading the book. And so to avoid that, wrote down some notes. So we're gonna go over the notes I've written down so far. First of all, I loved the writing from page 1. Literally first line, I was like, hello? The prologue starts. I met George St. James the day my mom vanished. The night before, I fell asleep the same way I always did, wishing for something extraordinary to happen. At 8 years old, I was certain of one thing. I was destined for great adventures. And it has only kept being that good. I literally wrote down in my book club, because this is actually this month's pick for Madison Kate's Patreon book club. So I actually wrote in the chat for it, and I was like, is Carly Fortune's writing always this like whimsical and magical sort of way? Because it's giving like, sure, it's still romance writing, but it's leaning a little bit towards the fantasy sort of writing. And then I wrote down, literally word for word, they have each other's names tattooed on their ribs. My God, kill me now, because that's what I felt reading that. What on earth do you mean? So in case you guys are wondering, this is about two best friends, George and Frankie. Frankie is about to be married at the start of the book. None of this is spoilers, this is all on the back. And she's about to be married in the start of the book, wakes up the morning of her wedding to a note on her pillow from her was going to be husband, telling her very shortly that he loves her, but he can't do this. And so George, being the best friend that he has been for her since they were 8, yeah, offers, or doesn't offer, kind of tells her that she needs to get off her butt after 2 months of wallowing, and they're going to go to her on her honeymoon together to Tofino, which is Canada. And I've always kind of wanted to go to Canada just for like the nature and stuff. Madison Kate talks specifically highly about Carly Fortune and her like way of describing PI, which I know this specific island they're on in this book isn't PI, but her other books take place in PI. And Madison has always talked very highly about that. Reading this, I can only agree that her like, oh yeah, I actually wrote that down too. I said she's so good at painting a picture as someone who can't picture reading stuff. I don't have like images in my head while reading, and yet this book is probably the most like she paints a picture. For me, someone who cannot see pictures in my head, she still paints it in a way where I almost feel like I can. And that never happens to me. So basically, back in the story, they go to Tofino. Yeah, they go to Tofino together on her honeymoon, and they've just arrived at the part where I'm in the book, so I can't tell you much about what's gonna happen here. He has a whole plan, George, to like help her move on this 1 week trip. And as you can probably tell from that, friends to lovers, I wouldn't say a friends to lovers hater by any means necessary. It's just not one of my favorite tropes. Yeah, I have read some great books with it, and I think it depends on how it's handled. So far, liking how this is handled, you know? Let me refer to my notes again. The covers, I've already told you guys that I loved the covers for all of her books. Like, they look hand painted, and I love that. Yeah, most of my last notes are basically just about the fact that I already really, really like their chemistry and their friendship chemistry, but I am very intrigued to see how she's going to take it from that to more. I feel like she's already doing some of the small stuff, like implementing the fact that he probably has been yearning for her for years, which is probably one of the things I like the most about Friends to Lovers, is the idea that at least one of them has been yearning for the other for so long. And then they're like starting to get small seeds planted, at least about how Frankie finds him attractive. But I'm still interested to see how she's gonna handle the entire like Friends to Lovers, like Frankie going from seeing him as the best friend ever, nothing sexual, to them obviously getting attracted to each other and having a relationship by the end of this book. Like I just said, I am 50 pages from being halfway. So my plan, goal, whatever for today is to get halfway through this book. I really do not like the fact that there are over 100 pages left in this. Just about 100 pages left in it, which I'm planning on finishing right now. And everything is good and they're happy. Because you know what that means. And you know how I feel about third act conflicts, breakups, whatever. They make or break a book. And I'm scared. Good morning. I think I was trying to remember when I last talked to you guys. I think I talked to you guys yesterday about Our Perfect Storm when I was like 30% through it. I did in fact end up finishing it yesterday. I don't know what's going on with me lately in reading and like binging books, but I had a full-on like Sunday reset yesterday, and it ended up with me in bed reading for the entire afternoon. And like I just said, did in fact finish Our Perfect Storm. And I was sitting on my rating because right off the bat, I really wanted to give this book 5 stars because I really enjoyed it. I only actually have one downside, and that is towards like the last half, I was getting a little bit annoyed at our female main character Frankie, because it was like, how blind can you actually be? Like, this man is down bad for you and you just don't see it, and he has been since you guys were 8 years old. You are blind. And at some points that did get a little bit too annoying, but considering the fact that that is my only qualm with this book, perfect. So I did end up lowering it to a 4.75 solely based on that. This had a third act breakup, and I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it. I actually think it made very great sense knowing these characters, the way they reacted to things, and I completely understood why it had to be done and why it was done the way it was done. Yeah. And I think I mentioned the fact that I was curious as to how they were going to do the entire Friends to Lovers, because I feel like it's very hit or miss. Because I always have a hard time picturing the idea that you've known these people since you were kids and all of a sudden you're in love with them. So I was curious how we were going to do it with Frankie, because obviously, like I just said, he's been in love with her since he was 8. And I really liked the way they did that. And like, it's not really a dual timeline, but you get a few chapters in the past of very important moments. And they are kind of the moments that then tie it all together in the end. and I loved the way it was done. I really, really, really enjoyed this book, and it was the perfect spring into summer read. Low-key perfect summer read, but we'll call it a perfect spring into summer read. Speaking of which, our next book for the prompt takes place in spring, or takes place in the season you're in, spring for me. We are reading the first book in the Unselected Journals of Emma M. Lyon, so the first volume, which is a super short book. I started it last night, read one chapter before bed, and then I just read for 30 minutes or something, and I am 32% into this, and we have less than an hour left. So I do think we might read both this and one last book, because that is I only have one more book that I don't have planned for another video for the reading challenge. And I have a feeling that this is like something I'm gonna quickly finish today. So, plans for today. I have to meet up with some school friends to do some schoolwork in the town, and when we're going in there, I'm going to actually go to the library, and I'm gonna give these two back to the little free library. Actually, give back. This one is gonna be given back because I took it from there once, and this one is just gonna be put there. And if you're looking for an explanation, I talked about both of these books in my last reading vlog, so you guys can go check that one out if you're curious as to why we're getting rid of these. So my plan is to go to the cafe with my friends, work on our school project for as long as possible, go to the library and give these back, and then I'm gonna sit in the library if there's room and read for a little bit. Otherwise, I'm just gonna print some stuff and then walk home. I'm gonna walk, not take the bus. So we're also going to go out and enjoy the sun, even though it's super windy today, but still. So far with this book, I am enjoying it. It's quick and easy and a little bit of fun. You know, it takes place in... Actually, don't ask me when it takes place. It takes place in, like, old London. And right now we're on March 26th. And like I said, they are journals, or not real journals, but they're written like journals. And I'm really enjoying that. It's kind of fun to see places where she has, like, it's supposed to look like she, like, scratched something out and then wrote something else, but you can still see what she scratched out. So far, this is a fun, cute little time, but nothing, like, special for now. I do also know there are 8 books in this series. I don't know if I'm gonna read all of them. We'll talk about that once I actually finish the book and know if it, like, intrigues me more than it has so far. So, let's get on with our day. Alright, I am back home. That was a successful little trip out of the apartment today. First of all, I feel like I look great. I was thinking the same thing earlier when I filmed the clip of me sitting here talking. Obviously now my hair has been blown through because the wind is insane outside, but still, I think I look pretty good. I always like this sort of top, which I have this exact top in 3 other colors. In a size smaller, but you know. Speaking of tops, let's just start there. One of my friends from the school wanted to stop by H&M, and I couldn't say no, and then I looked, And obviously I spent money too. I bought this very cute basic top. I think I'll insert like a little clip of me wearing it over me talking right now. But I just thought with like the buttons in the front, it really gave like early 2000s main character. Not Y2K, but you know what I'm talking about. Like Elena Gilbert sort of vibe with the buttons, and they can be unbuttoned. I didn't even check that in the store, but they can be unbuttoned in case I want to like be a little bit scandalous, maybe with like a lace bra or something under it. Unfortunately, I don't have any lace bras, but you know, add it to the list of stuff I need to buy. This is still so cute. It would also be cute underneath something that kind of shows this part. Basically, I bought it. It's an amazingly like thin material, not in like a cheap way, just in like it's gonna be so comfy on like a hot summer's day. And then I went to the library, got rid of my 2 books. I don't think I filmed anything in that box because there were constantly people. I tried again when I left, still people looking, and I still feel a little bit awkward pulling my phone out. But in the library, I found this little bookmark, and it was just there for free, hopefully, because I did just take it. There was like a whole stand that I filmed with multiple bookmarks, and this is just so cute. All you read is love, and it's a bunch of like romance books, and then it's like, it's not actually folded, but it looks like it's like dog-eared, which I don't dog-ear my book, and I would never, but it's still like a cute vibe, you know? Which then brings us, actually that didn't make any sense, but that brings us to Emma M. Lyon Volume 1, which I finished. Yeah, I think I sat at the library for about an hour, according to my Kindle at least, and read. That's falling down. That's annoying. It's supposed to be like up here. Whatever, not important. I finished it, and obviously quick, easy read. I read it today, basically. I know I read a chapter last night, but still, I read it today. And it was actually really good. I do think it took me a little bit to get into, but like not more than I feel like any other book would. I just feel like because it's such a short book, I'm overwhelmed with the amount of time I then had left in the book after I feel like I got into it, you know? And I'm aware that there were 7 more books. There were 8 books in total, so there are 7 more books in this series. So obviously this is only supposed to be like the intrigue sort of thing, and I think it did that very well. Still not sure if I'm going to be reading the entire series or whatever. I will, but maybe, you know, maybe. If I feel like, again, soon, I'm like, I want a quick and easy book, then it would be one of the ones I would probably turn to, would be the second one. I also think it would be cool figuring out which seasons they all take place in, so I could read them accordingly. So like if there's one of them that takes place in the fall time, my favorite, I could read it in the fall time, or like a Christmas one I could read at Christmas, stuff like that, because I do love a good seasonal series. I feel like more authors need to do genuinely like seasonal series. That was all just to say that I actually really enjoyed it, more than I thought I would. 100% more than I thought I would enjoy it. When I first started it, I think maybe I just had to get used to the writing. It's very funny because it's obviously, I was about to say a newer book, but it is from like 2019, I think. But it's obviously supposed to be written from the like point of view of a woman back then. Again, don't remember which year it is. I think it's 1880s or something. Rating wise, I'm having a little bit of a hard time rating it, but I think a 3.5, because 3 stars is normally where I would say like a short book where I neither loved it or hated it. So I feel like it deserves half a star more just for like ingenuity. No, just for it to be like a little bit more special than some other shorter books I've read. And while it took me a while to get into the little bit that was then left when I did get into it, I really enjoyed, and I am intrigued for more books in the series. Yeah, I think that's what I'm trying to say here. I'm still debating with myself if I should just finish the video here or if we want to read Someone Who Will Love You in All Your Damaged Glory together.